to show that there was actually an increase and there's actually been a decrease because the sun just went into a cooling cycle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Just look at how much attention and credibility was given to Al Gore, and the money he made over all that, and people. He gained a lot of supporters through that. But hopefully, truth will win out in the end. And
well, he trades the carbon credits. I mean, he owns the big company that does it.
Yeah. But people don't want to listen to that. Some people just buy into that. Yeah, he's the only one that's concerned about humankind, and he's going to save us from it.
Okay, I got a lot of bullet point questions for you, Congressman. Real quick, In the Fed, tell us about that book coming out in September. People are really excited about that.
Well, it's coming along. It should be September. Probably about 95%. They keep sending in things back and saying, "What about this? Clarify this kind of thing." So it's coming along real well. I was surprised how quickly they started promoting it. So there's been some real promotions, and Amazon, I guess, takes orders and things like that. I'd have been a little more comfortable to see the final thing in my hand, but that's the way they do things. But for every reason that I can see, it'll be out in September and hopefully a little bit earlier, because I was arguing that I have a little bit more time in August than I do in September to go around and talk about it. But
and this is a
Pardon me?
Sorry, go ahead.
I said, but I think it's pretty exciting what's happening. The attention is getting.
Yeah, well, this is a manifesto against the criminal elite that run our country, the private bankers. So folks want people to have solutions and take action. Ron Paul's doing. I don't know how you do it. I mean, I'm writing a book right now. I'm making films right now. I do the radio show and I do the interviews. But I know you're on the House floor. You study the bills. You're always informed on the news when I talk to you. And I know you do interviews every day. I got to tell you, folks, Ron Paul probably works more than me. I think he's the only person I know who is more engaged against the New World Order and with family and everything else. I just don't know how you do it. So we salute you and love you. Okay, a bunch of quick questions now in the 14 minutes we've got left. Everybody keeps emailing me, calling, and just rabidly wanting to know, are you going to run for president in 2012?
Well, I don't know that answer. So I would say that if I had to answer now, probably not. And it seems like it's a long time off. I don't know what the conditions are going to be like. So I'm not making plans for that. But to say that exactly what the future will bring, it's pretty difficult. But right now, I have no plans to do it.
Okay, but things change. I mean, you were saying that before and didn't run, and people are saying you'd be how old? You'd be 76, 77?
Something like that. I don't usually think about that too much. I think about how I feel. I
think you're going to be young enough to run. I mean, you're in great shape. We need you, Congressman. We need you to run for president again.
As long as I can outwalk my staff up and down the stairs at the Capitol, then I feel good.
Well, that brings me to the next point. The media, you're the new darling, and I believe this is happening because they know we are that giant third rail. The liberty movement is becoming the mainstream, and you look at all the polls, your views, my views, others' views, in the Patriot Liberty movement, we're in line with what the people want. And so the establishment's trying to kind of use you as camouflage or at least have you on the show some to go, look, we get it, because they risk being made completely obsolete if they don't have you and Peter Schiff and others on.
Well, I think something is going on. We're not a 51% majority. We don't run the Republican Party. We don't run the country and all that. But I notice that both Republicans and Democrats who get into any kind of political trouble where they're going to have a tough race, they're very interested in finding out where our support is. So a Democrat that might hold a Republican seat, traditionally Republican seat, are very interested in talking to me and getting in legislation, joining my bills and doing things together. So that means that they recognize that our numbers are significant and that our people are very serious, and if they get behind somebody, they will support them. So, no, I think that's a very positive sign. And I think when you truly believe in something and you're very principled, one individual like that is probably worth 100 others who are just followers and go along with, they put their finger up to the wind and they go and they always vote one way or the other. So our supporters are much, much more valuable.
But Congressman, it's more than just a wild card. I mean, they also see the exponential growth of the liberty movement with you as one of the main, not figureheads, intellectual leaders of that. I mean, I would like to get your take on that. Do you not see the exponential growth? Because I'm seeing it and I'm tracking it. If it continues, we are going to be the most dominant force in this country within 5 years. Probably sooner, because everything you and I and others talked about is now coming true. We're being validated.
Yeah, I think that's true. Let's hope that is true. But I also worked on the theory that you never know who's out there, who will join us, and who's in the remnant, the people who are the true believers and haven't had any voice for a long time. And those numbers, we're just starting to recognize that those numbers are great, and the growth that you're talking about is something that has fascinated me too. I had some young people in the other day, and they seemed like just teenagers. They were teenagers. And I said, well, did you get interested in the campaign? Oh, no, I never even looked at the campaign. So we're already a year off from the campaign. The momentum is there, and young people are joining us for the momentum that was built, which is really very encouraging.
Absolutely. People at first got bummed out when you didn't win, and I said, wait a minute, folks. We gained a lot of ground. People now know the Federal Reserve is private. They now know about the globalist. They now know who the enemy is, and with that giant core, we can expand to the next level and then expand again. 2 more exponential replications, we defeat the New World Order. We are inches away from victory, thanks to Ron Paul and others. Stay with me. The website's campaignforliberty.com, campaignforliberty.com. A lot of other great sites that Congressman Ron Paul's involved in. Our sites are Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. Check out the newly redesigned and upgraded PrisonPlanet.tv today. Okay, we got about 5 minutes left with the Congressman. He's got to go. We're very thankful for his time once a month when he visits with us. Congressman, is the Obama juggernaut starting to slow? That's what I see happening when he has these outrageous lies about I won't hire any lobbyists and that's all he hires, or I'm giving rights to detainees, and then signs an order saying no Geneva Convention, no habeas corpus. I mean, where do you see this going with the president?
I think so far, I wished I was as optimistic as you are about this. I still think he's flying high. I think he's still very popular, and it's almost like they used to say about Reagan. He had Teflon on him. He was the Teflon president. This guy's Teflon too, and he can do this. And logical people may be questioning this, but no, I think I sense there's a few in the Congress who are the real principled progressive Democrats who are very strongly anti-war. They see through some of this. But even if the people are so upset, and they're upset with the Congress and the economy and everything else, so far he's not getting much blame. But I think as time goes on, the more he does this, the more credibility he'll lose. So it's a big. I guess the real test will come on this will be next year. Next year's elections. The first congressional election after a president's elected is the big test.
Well, Congressman, look how he comes out and says, "I'm getting rid of the Real ID Act." And then I read what Napolitano said. It says we're still going to have federalized state IDs. The feds will just pay for it now. Same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no doubt. He says he closes down Guantanamo. Well, it's not quite closed down yet, but he hasn't rejected rendition, sending him off and hiring some thugs in other countries to do the dirty work. And he is a strong believer in the state secrecy. On all those court cases, they're taking Bush's position on that. They want to protect the state, and it seems like even if they did believe one way. Or at least they say that in their campaigns. Once they're in power, it's the protection and the enhancement of power of the executive branch that always seems to be the case. But I put more blame on the Congress for this happening because we still have the responsibility and the authority. We have the purse strings, and we ought not to let them get away with this.
Absolutely.
We've been taught too long that we need a strong president. That's what they're
Absolutely.
always arguing.
Congressman, last question here, and this is key. I've got the Boston Globe Combat Support Battalion deployed to maintain order, Boston Marathon. I've got the Tennessee governor 2 weeks ago, if you're not aware of this, I'll send it to you, saying You can't run warrantless Army checkpoints on citizens. They did it anyways. We're the folks that broke the MIAC report and then the federal report and all these reports. People couldn't believe it when we first broke them, where the patriots are terrorists and the people buying guns are terrorists and the veterans are terrorists. Can you speak to that now, sir, and these top-off drills they're doing where they do practice putting us in sports stadiums, just overall, the reports, the troops, all of it?
Well, I don't know the details as well as you do, but I know it's going on, and I know they use these as excuses, and it's always to build up fear, and when you get to people fearful, then they're more likely to give up their liberties, whether it's following a 9/11 incident or the potential Saddam Hussein that might have a nuclear weapon and all that stuff. So they build up the fear, and these events, they'll make use of them, and they'll come in and say, look, there might be somebody there that's going to blow this thing up. That just means that our job is that much harder to do in waking up the people and making them realize that you shouldn't sacrifice your liberty. You're never safer by sacrificing liberty.